There is a common myth that superheroes have to have powers, wear capes, and go around saving the day all the time. One of my favorite commercials is of the Yellow Pages commercial, which features plumbers, electricians, movers, and doctors all doing their average jobs but while wearing tiny yellow capes. While hilarious and obviously cute, I think it brings up a valid point about the heroes we have in our lives that go unnoticed, just doing everyday things. While my grandmother doesn't have superpowers, she did have the power to raise me, teach me the skills I use today, and she went around saving me all the time. For these reasons and many more, she is my hero. My grandmother was the middle of three girls. Her dad was in the military and ran the household with strict discipline. When she was 10, her mother started teaching her how to cook. She got off to a rocky start and told me a particular story about forgetting she had a pot of eggs boiling. They somehow exploded and stuck to the ceiling. My grandmother has a great sense of humor and always picks and nags after my grandfather, who she has been married to for 59 years. She taught kindergarten and substitute taught elementary school for decades. My mother often would drop me off at her house growing up, or I would spend the night there. A good portion of my childhood memories are at their house, learning to tie my shoes, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and playing hopscotch. By the time I entered kindergarten, my grandmother had already taught me the material and then some. But my grandmother taught me many other things as well. She always had a love for music, and I would sit enthralled to watch her play the piano, jealous she could make such beautiful sounds with her hands. At her encouragement, I began taking lessons, something I continued until I was a proficient all the way through high school. Another thing I enjoyed doing was sewing. She taught me the basics. In my mother's old bedroom, which she had turned into a sewing room, I learned how to thread a needle and make stitches there, along with a myriad of other crafts. But the most important thing I learned from her was my love for and the ability to read. Reading was huge for me, and under her instruction, I was reading by the age of 4, devouring anything I could get my hands on. She started me on the Nancy Drew books as I got older, and I would read other things, exploring worlds and times I had never been before. Ultimately, however, my grandmother taught me the desire to learn. That desire to learn spread into every aspect of my life. This also included learning from my mistakes. My grandmother gave great advice and was a great pillar of strength for me to lean on throughout my childhood and into my adult life. Throughout school, boys, and friends, she gave me advice that saved the day for me in some ways. And she still is that person for me. However, a year and a half ago, my grandmother fell and hurt her chest. During the x-ray process, it was discovered that she had lung cancer, which covered most of her left lung. She began chemo, and suddenly, my hero was depending on me to save the day for her. Today, my grandmother is living with stage 4 lung cancer. She has quit chemotherapy because it would have killed her before the cancer could. She lives in a highly functional, happy, active life at North Hardin Retirement Home in Radcliffe. She has dealt with her mortality with the expected emotions, but she has remained strong, and in that way, she continues to teach me things and be my hero.